welcome to the splendid presidential palace in Tunis on the Mediterranean Sea, a building which for almost a quarter of a century was a symbol of the authoritarian power wielded by President Zine Al Abidine Ben Ali. But not anymore. Ben Ali and his wife were forced to flee from here to Saudi Arabia when a popular revolt swept through Tunisia. It was an uprising which inspired Arabs from Benghazi to Bahrain. And now a very different political figure resides in this grand building. Marzuki is a doctor, political activist and human rights campaigner, jailed and then exiled by the Ben Ali regime. He returned to Tunisia to join the revolution, and now here he is at the end of a remarkable personal journey, President of the Republic. He's promised to make his presidency accessible to all Tunisians. He talks of establishing a truly accountable government. But already there are Tunisians who are losing faith in their revolution. Could political polarization and economic stagnation undermine Tunisia's claim to be an inspiring model for the Arab world? President Marzuki, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you.
It is for me fascinating to be in this building because here so many of the abuses of power that you campaigned against for years were perpetrated from here.
Yeah.
How does it feel for you now to occupy this building?
Very strange. You probably you don't know that this place was the office of Ben Ali. The office of Ben Ali himself. So yes, I'm very, very surprised to be here. And the first day I was here, I said, "My goodness, I can't believe it. I can't believe that I am here in the place where the tyrant, because he was really a tyrant, ordered so many people to be tortured, to be harassed, and so forth. And now I am here, probably to do exactly the opposite." And to promote and protect human rights, and this is probably it's fantastic, really.
There is another thing that strikes me about your position. You are the president in a new system, a new Tunisia, where much of the power right now is vested in the Constitutional Assembly. Yes. And the new elected government.
Yeah.
There is a danger that you will be used as a fig leaf, as a token for that government, because you have great respect in your country, because people remember your struggle. There is a problem here. The government may use you. Do you see that?
No, there is no danger, because the power is shared by the President of the Republic, by the President of the government, and the President of the Constituency itself. So we meet once a week, and we talk about all the issues, the political issues, and we decide in common. So, in fact, there is any danger that I'm just here a puppet or something like this.
But the truth is it not, that your party, the Congress for
Yes.
the Republic, is a very junior partner in the governing coalition.
Yeah.
So, frankly, the Prime Minister, who of course represents the Ennahda, the moderate Islamist party,
Yes.
he is going to drive policy in this country, not you.
Well, you probably know that Ennahda cannot rule the country by itself, so they badly need our party. They can't have a government, solid government, without our participation, so they badly need us as we badly need them. There is a common agreement among us that this country must be ruled by a coalition, by consensus, and that we are reaching this consensus every day.
Well, I want to talk about what that means in practical terms for domestic affairs in a moment, but let's first start with your role in foreign affairs, where you do have real powers.
Yes.
You, in a sense, regard foreign affairs as your first and premier domain. And I want to talk to you about what is happening in your region, particularly, first of all, in Syria. You, just a few days ago, said that you were prepared to offer President Bashar al-Assad asylum, safe haven in Tunisia. Why did you do that?
I think our main responsibility, Tunisia was the first country to have this Arab Spring, to have this democratic revolution, and we feel that we have some responsibility towards Syria, because the Syrian revolution comes just after our own. So we feel that we have a kind of moral responsibility towards Syrians, and Syrians also are Arabs, are Muslims, they are our brothers. So I really can't accept that every day you have about 100 people killed by the regime. So my obsession is to stop the killing. This is my main problem.
Do you regard Assad as a murderer?
Yes, of course. But what I say that we have to, if we want to stop the killing, the only way is to have a solution like the Yemeni solution, that the president leaves power and that he has safe haven, somewhere to go. Otherwise, he will continue to kill and to kill and to kill. And this is why we said, look, if the price of peace in Syria is to give safe haven to this guy, why not? And I proposed Russia, but the Russians didn't want, they weren't very happy with the idea. And they said, look, why you Tunisians don't have this money? And I said, okay, if this is the price, I accept to pay this price. It's a high price, but we have to pay it because life is much more important than justice.
Have you had any official contact with the Syrian government about this offer?
And I don't think that the Syrian would never ask asylum to in Tunisia, but we are really ready. If this is the price to stop the killing, I say, once again, the life of thousands of Syrians is much more important than justice.
Really? I mean, it just seems to me a difficult position for you to take, because you have been a human rights campaigner, a campaigner for justice against abuse for so many years, and here you sit telling me that, one, you think Assad is a murderer, but two, you are prepared to offer him protection.
Yes, if, as I said, if he's ready to stop the killing, because if he leaves Syria now, probably you would save thousands of lives tomorrow, and this is the most important thing.
And what about UK Prime Minister David Cameron and US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who have both said very clearly there will be a day of judgment for Bashar al-Assad. He cannot escape it. He must not escape it.
I think if there is no solution, probably this will be the end of Bashar al-Assad. But if we can have this kind of solution, of this consensus to save lives, I think it's not a good solution, but it's much better than the other one. Keep the killing going.
You referred to Tunisia's important situation, perhaps as the birthplace of the Arab Spring. There is a weight given to your words right now, particularly with your own personal background as well. Do you believe, when you see the reports, and the BBC has reported in the last 24 hours of new allegations of the most terrible crimes, including the murder, the slitting of throats of children, when you hear these allegations and these stories, do you believe that military intervention of some sort is now an imperative?
I'm quite sure that if there is a military intervention, there will be war not only in Syria but in the whole region, and this is what I'm afraid of. This is why I say that this, of course, I would like so much that the Syrian revolution was just like the Tunisian one, democratic, peaceful, and by civil society, but this didn't happen.
But Mr. President, my point in a way is simple. International analysts are now, some of them, talking of what is happening in Syria as in the same breath as that they described previous tragic events in Srebrenica, or maybe even to a certain extent in Rwanda. And this is where we talk about the UN's commitment, responsibility to protect. If that's to have meaning, doesn't the international community have to make some sort of intervention?
I understand, and it's a very, very difficult choice. I don't say that it's easy to choose the peaceful and the peaceful solution, but what I'm afraid of is a new war, not only in Syria, civil war, but in the whole region, and this would be probably the worst thing which can happen in this area. This is why I keep saying that we must try every day a peaceful and a consensus solution.
So you hosted a Friends of Syria meeting recently here in Tunis. We saw again divisions within the Arab world, within the Arab League, with some loud and powerful voices, including the Qatari government, the Saudis as well, saying that talk is not enough anymore. And they are suggesting that at the very least Arab nations should, in partnership, arm the Syrian rebels. Would you in Tunisia support that?
No, not at all. As a human rights activist, as a member of a country which has had this peaceful democratic revolution, I keep saying that we must avoid arming the opposition. I'm still convinced that any military intervention would be worse, would be extremely dangerous, and this is why I keep saying that we have to reach a political solution.
The Arab world, the Arab League, is desperately divided now, isn't it?
Yes, it's true.
What does that say about the Arab world post-Arab Spring? Maybe it suggests that far from coalescing around a clear vision of an Arab future, divisions are growing.
Yes, sure. So, sure, divisions are growing, and crisis is growing, and instability is growing. We are in a very, very difficult situation, but I think this crisis should go on, because the outcome of it is probably a new Arab world. And
how much blood is going to be spilled before this new Arab world is achieved?
Nobody knows, but unfortunately the Tunisian example has not been followed by other nations.
Let me ask you a wider question about the international community. The current president of the General Assembly of the United Nations happens to be the UN ambassador from Qatar.
Yeah.
And he says that he's gravely disappointed in the functioning of the United Nations. He says that Russia and China's ability to thwart international action on Syria at the Security Council suggests that the United Nations itself is malfunctioning, dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course, and I don't see any other solutions than changing the way that all this functions. But I think it will not be very easy, and I don't see that would happen in the next future.
Let me ask you something which arises from our discussion of what should happen to Assad and to Syria. It seems to me your position that you would be prepared to offer Assad protection flies in the face of everything that Tunisia says and wants when it comes to former President Ben Ali. There he sits in Saudi Arabia. The Tunisian government demands his extradition and says that it is fundamental for justice to be delivered to Ben Ali. Well, in that context,
but no,
you have a
Syria.
fundamental contradiction in your position. You're offering Assad, you call him a murderer, protection, and yet you demand the extradition of Ben Ali.
Yes. You must understand that our position in Syria comes from the fact that we want to save lives, because we think that if Tunisia or any other country doesn't offer a safe haven to this dictator, he will go on killing. And my obsession, once again, is to save lives. If we can save lives by this way, by giving this opportunity to the dictator, I would say, okay. But you know, and I do know that Assad will never ask asylum in Tunisia. And I am afraid that the killing would go on.
So, no, but my point is, maybe you've undermined, by offering this protection, you've undermined your case for the extradition of Ben Ali.
If we can save lives in Syria, I accept to undermine my position on Ben Ali. Okay?
Do you think you have?
Yes.
Honestly, do you now think it is inconceivable the Saudis are going to agree to extradite former President Ben Ali?
I think they will never extradite Ben Ali. So we do know, we have tried with them many times. But once again, about Syria, my obsession is to save lives and nothing else. This is my obsession, because I can't accept that every day you have more than 100 Syrians killed, and you have to give them the opportunity to find a political solution. And if we do not accept to give a safe haven to this guy, he will continue, and then we would never have stopping up the killing. This is the main problem.
You talk about unrest and the dissatisfaction of the youth.
Yeah.
I think perhaps it's most obvious in the area of the economy. Unemployment is rising in this country. It's worse now than it was before the revolution. Foreign businesses have pulled out. Perhaps 100 or so have already left the country because of instability. We've seen strikes, we've seen sit-ins and protests. Western tourists are no longer coming to Tunisia in the numbers that they once did. The revolution hasn't delivered, has it?
Look, we have to pay the price for more than 20 years of corruption, of corruption. And then we have to pay the price also for 1 year of instability after the revolution. And now we are facing really huge challenges because of this high rate of employment. But also we have good cars. We have an important middle class. We have also a lot of friends in Europe, in the United States, in Qatar, in Saudi Arabia, ready to help us. And I think the economy would probably, begin to grow. And now actually we feel that something is changing, and we're having more and more tourists back. So I expect.
Well, you talk a good game, but to your own people, you just a couple of months ago you said if workers do not stop their protests and their strikes, we are committing, your words, collective suicide. And you said, if things aren't working out within 6 months, and you asked people to stop the sit-ins and the strikes, you said, if 6 months' time there isn't progress, I will quit. Do you stick by that?
No. As I told you, we suffered from this instability, but now the country is getting more and more stable day after day, and the economic is now back. Tunisia are back to business. So I expect the situation to improve day after day.
That is a big economic challenge.
Yeah.
But it isn't the only challenge, because this country, it seems to me, is still deeply polarized between those who would describe themselves as secularists and those who identify themselves very much by their Muslim religion. And many would perhaps call themselves Islamists. Again, since you became president, that divide has not been bridged. In some ways, it seems to be getting deeper.
I don't agree with you, because I think all Tunisians are somewhere secular, and all are Muslims. And what we try to do in this country is to say, look, we are a divided society, we are a complex society, and we have to accept that some of us are secular, some of us are Muslims, and we have to work together.
Everybody talks about working together, but when the Prime Minister, for example, Hamid Jibali, when he told supporters after his victory, quote, "We are in the 6th caliphate, God willing." How did you, as a secular politician, feel about that?
I did accept the word, and I think it was a mistake. And of course, I am for a secular state, for a modern state, and I will never accept a kind of Islamist state in this country.
So you want your government to be careful with their words?
Yes.
Well, in that case, why did you, Mr. President, refer to those Tunisians who follow the radical Egyptian cleric Ghanim? Why did you refer to them as bacteria?
No, I didn't refer to I referred to this guy because he came here in Tunisia.
Well, you called him abnormal, but you said his supporters in this country were bacteria.
Talking about circumcision of women and talking about horrible things. I think, yes, I compared this man to a bacteria, but not the Salafis themselves, because I consider that Tunisians, like others, and we have to discuss with them, to keep dialogue going on with them, because they are our citizens. We have to explain them that this guy is extremely dangerous, saying nonsense. Here in this country, everybody's for women's rights, and hearing this man coming from Egypt, saying that women should be considered less than men. This is very frustrating for me.
I understand and I feel your passion on the subject, but nonetheless, you've just told me that politicians in Tunisia today have to be very careful with their language. Do you regret some of the language?
Yes, I did. And you probably remember that I apologized.
And I suppose that brings us back, in a way, to the beginning, talking about your role as president, working with the Prime Minister from the Ennahda party. Bluntly, do you trust Ennahda and its agenda? Do you believe them when they say that what they want is a truly democratic, pluralistic society in which citizens' rights are at the core of Tunisia's constitutional settlement?
Of course I believe them, of course, because, the Islamist trend here in Tunisia is wide range, and Ennahda is the central part of the spectrum. And this central part of the spectrum is just like in Europe you have some Christian Democratic Party. We have in the Arab world also this central part of the spectrum, which are democratic Muslim parties. And I don't have any problem to work with them, because we agreed about our red lines. We said our red lines are women's rights, human rights, freedom of expression, etc., etc. And they agree. So we have a coalition based on this agreement. If they change their mind, we will probably also change our position towards them. But now, for the moment, I don't see any reason not to trust them.
Final thought, Mr. President. Early in the interview, you gave me an interesting hint that you perhaps haven't decided whether you're going to run to be directly elected president when the interim constitution is replaced by the long-term constitution. You said something very interesting not long ago. You said your own daughters are very much advising you not to run, to be a short-term president.
Yes.
Why are they doing that, and why are you not necessarily going to heed their advice?
Well, because they think that I'm a writer, I'm a physician, and that I will probably serve my country more in the human rights fields.
Do they worry that you might be seduced by power?
Yes, yes, but I think I can be really seduced by power, but I can be also disgusted by power also. But both situations are here, so I would probably make my choice, but not today, not before you.
No, not before me, but I'm very interested. I've never interviewed a president before who says that part of him is disgusted by power.
Yeah.
I just want you to explain to me what you mean by that.
Well, you know, when you are in this position, you see a lot of things, you know, conflicts running the whole day, you know, conflicts among friends, conflicts with enemies, and you have to accept to be, you know, every day, you know, when I read newspaper here in Tunisia, it's extremely frustrating because you see lies, you see threats, you see a lot of things. So it's very, very hard, you know, especially when you come from human rights activism, when you're thinking about idols, about, you know, ideas, and then you have to deal with all this kind of things. It's very, very difficult.
And a final thought on this. I just wonder whether you're also disgusted by the fact that Tunisia's example and what is happening in this country is so clearly and tragically not happening in so many other parts of the Arab world. And you have, as president and head of state, to deal with so many other Arab leaders. Does that depress you, if not disgust you as well?
Well, first of all, I must say that I'm very, very proud of my country, very, very proud of my people, the way that we led this peaceful and democratic, you know, revolution, the way that we, you know, we received more than 300,000 refugees from Libya, the way that we dealt with this short period of time where we have this election, fair elections. So really, I am very proud of Tunisia and of the Tunisian people. But now I'm a little bit upset about what will be the next future, you know, because we are facing huge challenges from social and economic point of view, and we are living in a very dangerous world, and so the situation also in Libya, in Algeria, we have to be very careful.
I mean, the hope, I suppose to put it bluntly, the hope was that what happened here would spread.
Yes.
There would be a positive contagion.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that
didn't happen. Did happen really, and this is very frustrating. Yes, yes. I would like so much that the whole, all the Arab revolution should be just like Tunisia.
President Munصif Marzuki, we have to end there, but thank you very much
so much
for being on Hard Talk.
Thank you.